this is about the skull of Satoshi, which is all the rage this morning on Twitter.com. Let's see a little video clip from its big reveal.
Think Bitcoin's not bad for the environment? Think again. Introducing my newest collaboration with Greenpeace. I'm Benjamin Von Wong, and I use art to raise awareness for issues like plastic pollution and climate change. 6 months ago, I was studying the impacts of climate change in Greenland, where I saw firsthand what the climate crisis looks like. Greenland's ice sheet is melting fast, and witnessing it with my own eyes was absolutely gut-wrenching. That's where I met Rolf from Greenpeace and learned about how fixing Bitcoin could help solve climate change.
All right, so as you can tell there from that video, it's a collaboration between an artist and Greenpeace, the environmental organization, suggesting that Bitcoin needs to change its code to mitigate its environmental impact. Now, it's a bit unclear what exactly that code change would entail, but it's certainly something that is drawing a lot of attention on Twitter, and also a lot of people who kind of see this thing as an unintentional mascot. That was just the most metal punk rock thing, and Bitcoiners everywhere, including our very own Will Foxley, are changing their Twitter profile pictures to an image of the skull. What do we make of this? Either the lightness of the Twitter phenomenon or the substance of the claims that are buried in this work. What do you think, Jen?
Okay, well, I'm going to go for the lightness first because I love the skull, and I have to mention it's going on tour, which I don't know if that is very environmentally friendly, but it's going to be in New York next week, and CoinDesk needs to get out and see the skull in person and maybe do some reporting. So I am looking forward to that. I think that there is more low-hanging fruit that we can address, and instead of, changing Bitcoin's code. There are some comparisons in Greenpeace's messaging that we heard a lot last year, comparing Bitcoin's carbon emissions to those of some small countries. I've said this before, would love to see more data, more analytics, so we can make our own decisions on how Bitcoin is affecting climate change. I think people might see this, though, and maybe look at some alternatives to Bitcoin that are maybe a little more climate friendly. At the end of the day, though, I am a fan of the skull, so I'm glad that this came out of the campaign, and maybe people can just educate themselves and make their own decisions. Anna?
Well, I definitely am looking forward to making a selfie with the skull because the art is really cool. Like it really hits the nerve. But the discussion of Bitcoin's climate impact and whether it can be mitigated by, is the author suggesting Bitcoin switches to the proof of stake like Ethereum does? Because that is the most widely proposed solution. And that is the whole other discussion, like why it shouldn't be done, why it should be done, and so on. We just don't have the hours to discuss all that. But I think, in the end, it's good that the attention to climate change is attracted this way. And maybe people will think about other ways they're using energy not very efficiently. And that's always a good thing to do.
Yeah, it's worth saying that, the artist here is no slouch, right? This is someone who's educated himself to some extent on cryptocurrency. And he says, hey, Bitcoin switching to proof of stake isn't something that I even agree with. And I think it goes back to some of the conversations around the Ethereum merge, right, where Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake. It was seen as an unmitigated good in shrinking the footprint of Ethereum. But of course, now there's all these regulatory conversations, especially with Gary Gensler saying that, Bitcoin and proof of work is really the one true process. Proof of stake consensus sort of suggests that things are almost a little bit like security. So suddenly there's this regulatory thing that's intersecting with this environmental conversation. It's all crazy.